Hi, you guys. It's JoJo on the radio. This dude, you really need no intro, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't give it to you because you're one of the biggest, if not the biggest dude musically on the planet right now. Pharrell, sir, how are you? You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, because that sounds weird.
Well, it's kind of true. I mean, just look at what you've done. Take your name out of the picture. You're looking at somebody else. Would you not think that person is doing good? Very good.
It's still weird. But
it's gonna get weirder.
But let me just say thank you though, because
Absolutely.
For everyone listening, those are the people who put me here, because they're the ones that buy the songs, they're the ones that upload videos, they're the ones that like request songs, or just all the above, all of that activity, beyond just listening to a song, all of that has resulted in these new heights. So I appreciate it.
Do the fans, well, I know they surprise you. They surprise everyone. But is there Happy, for example?
Yeah.
I mean, you knew it was a good song. But I'm sure you think all your tracks are good. Otherwise, you wouldn't release them. But did the fans surprise you at some point? Like they really supported this more or less or differently than you expected?
The fans always surprise you, and you have to be open for that. You have to know that, like, at the end of the day, you're writing a song just like anyone else is, and you're at it's all dependent on how people are feeling at the moment and what makes sense for them. And should they choose you just have to acknowledge them and say thank you, because they don't have to. That's where I keep it at.
Very real point. And it's cool to see you being all humble like that, because some people, no names needed, not that there's any names that come to mind, but, some people just, little success, head explodes, all of a sudden, don't look at me from the left side, look at me from the right. I've seen this stuff, so.
Yeah, they say I and me, and I learned not to do that. I learned to just say thank you. Thank you.
By the way, Pharrell walked in, and he didn't give me the rundown. Hey, JoJo, don't look at me from the left side. Or I just walked in with this hat on. By the way, not the giant hat. You have just the normal hat. Where do you keep the big hat, dude?
It quit on me.
Don't tell me that.
Dude went solo.
You're right. New album featuring that hat.
He's got his own social media. He's balling.
All right, quick rundown. Just to recap his last year, I guess. The hat, of course. I'm bummed about that. Sorry to hear about the hat. 4 Grammys, married. Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Show with Bruno, Hollywood Bowl, tomorrow and Sunday.
So fun. And I want to thank Bruno, too. I mean, he, to me, is one of the biggest artists in the world. And, for him to have me on the bill with him was is such a pleasure. He's such a phenomenal act.
What did you learn from him?
I think I learned from everybody, but I think from him specifically, I just love his showmanship. I just love what he does. I mean, of course, we both perform 2 different ways. I mean, he's Bruno, but I'm just kind of like
pump up. Yeah, he's looking all good.
I think I just, my route is that I want to connect with the audience, and and I just want to continue to give back to, girl. That's been the gift that just keeps on giving.
If you don't have the album, of course, get the thing, man. Happy. Let me just jump into Happy real quick before we take a pause. This track was released on Despicable Me 2.
Yes, sir.
Was it intended to go on your album as well from the get-go, or did it just sort of kind of evolve into that? And the CeeLo, like you wrote this and pitched it to CeeLo, and he rejected it. Everybody.
No, he didn't.
How'd that work?
It's so unfortunate that when Stern asked me this question, people, I don't know what I said or how I said it or how he asked the question or what, but it's so unfortunate that people have the perception that he rejected it or he was reluctant, because he actually did record it. And
the label. That's right. The label. That's
not
my bad.
Not here to sling mud, but it wasn't CeeLo. CeeLo recorded the track. He sounded amazing. He sounded so much better than I did. And I was happy to have him on there. And like you said, politically, it just didn't work out. But it had nothing to do with him. And if anything, he has been nothing but incredibly supportive about that song from the very beginning since he recorded it. And he's been just as supportive about The Voice. Like, we talked. He explained to me like how he really felt like the machine works, and like, gave me some of the tricks of the trade. Like, CeeLo's a really good dude. He's a really good dude, and I consider him a friend. I have a song on his album. His album's amazing. So I just, for me, more than anything else, like it's just unfortunate because people think that like, maybe he's looking at it a certain kind of way now or whatever. No, he's my brother. He's been so supportive. He's a really good guy. And if anything, I feel fortunate to have worked with him all the times that I have worked with him.
For the record, that's not, I guess the way I took it was, how some actors, they'll pass on a role. Yeah. And it's not like a, hey, I loved it or hated it. It's multiple reasons. That's kind of how I took it, maybe. Yeah. But then again, it does seem, it's unfortunate for the label to have, put that roadblock up. Granted, everybody makes mistakes, so whatever.
But again, I try not to sling mud, you know what I'm saying? So like, politically it didn't work out, so that was that.
Well done.
But that's still my brother. And given an opportunity to do it again, I will ask him again.
Maybe you can do a remix, Happier, and we'll go with that, featuring Zila. All right, let's pause. It's JoJo in the studio with Pharrell Williams. Follow this guy on Twitter, Instagram, @Pharrell. Everybody knows that. The album, GIRL. The Voice, dude. I mean, I think this show has changed reality TV in a way. I don't want to get too crazy with it, but a lot of shows are based on negative criticism. I'm going to just light you up just for ratings, and just in this show, granted, there's a degree of that because you have to criticize, and that's never easy. But it's uplifting, and it just makes sense, and it works, and you work on it because of the whole happy movement. And it's more than a movement, it's more than a song. It's a movement, in my opinion. It's gonna really work well for you. Although I don't see you as a guy that criticizes, and I've seen you on the show, of course. But am I off base with that? Is that why you are a perfect fit for The Voice, or are you a perfect fit?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what I am for it. I can tell you what my intentions are, and that is to use that huge platform to not only, impart advice to the contestants that will be on my team, but hopefully what I'm saying will transmit through the screens and reach the audiences in middle America, where someone is a singer or not a singer. Hopefully some of the advice will be applicable to people's lives flat out, and make things easier with some of the techniques and ways of looking at things, and because that's really all it is at the end of the day. It all begins with your perspective. If your perspective is off, then you're probably not going to hit your target for anything in life. And I think, if anything, while I was happy to get the offer, I was even more excited about reaching more people, because it's being on The Voice is like having a megaphone to America. So if you could say something positive and you can inspire people to like lift themselves even higher, man, then you're doing your job as a human being.
When do you guys start taping that?
I do not know.
Guess we'll find out when the manager calls you up and makes it all happen.
Yeah, I'm terrible with dates.
Well, when it hits, you guys will see it. Real quick, let's switch gears, man. Let's just go into a track. This track featuring Miley Cyrus, "Come Get It, Bae." You've been a big believer, even when the people who have a little hate vibe going on with Miley, which, by the way, she's a great girl, awesome girl. I absolutely love her. Yeah. Working with Miley, what did you get from that? Talk about this track a bit.
You'd be hard pressed to find somebody as professional as Miley in the studio. Someone that hits the notes really hard, and you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that has a whole different background than you ever suspect. I mean, yes, Billy Ray Cyrus is her dad and Dolly Parton is her godmother, but you have no idea what that country voice sounds like. Like, she hasn't even tapped into it yet. Like, that's what made me want to work with her. It's because I went to her house and she sat down with a guitar and sang me a song. I was like, yo, your voice is crazy. And there's moments on her album now, like there's a song that I have on there called Rooting for My Baby. When you listen to her tone, man, you think for a second it's Stevie Nicks.
Wow. So you get lost in the antics for some people, kind of like Gaga. Some people get lost in the craziness that she does, but we're talking Miley, just legit at her craft.
Oh, I put my money on Miley all day long. In terms of like, if people want to know if is it gonna last or something like that. Oh yeah, for sure. And by the way, her tour is amazing. It's amazing. And we've been trying to find a way to go see it, but I've seen it online. And just online, I mean, man, what must that feel? Did you go?
I have not seen her live.
Okay.
I've seen her do it. Like
what that must feel like being there is incredible. My dear friend Diane Martell was a genius, directed the tour, and it is nothing short of amazing. And I'm trying to get to see it, but if you haven't seen it and it's in a town near you, you need to go see it.
I do want to ask you something. Not really to do with you.
Okay.
I'm a Michael Jackson fanatic.
Okay.
You have had several encounters with Michael. He's one of your heroes. Couple of things. The new album, your thoughts on it, and will you ever produce, I guess it is sort of about you, will you ever produce or have you been asked to produce, say, for example, the next MJ project, kind of like Timbaland did with this one and whatnot? Because you'd be perfect for that, man.
I was, but you know what? I think Timbaland did a wonderful job.
He did. Agreed.
And I'm not sure that they need me. I met him a couple of times. He actually interviewed me for Interview Magazine in 2003. That was like a huge highlight of my life.
And Michael interviewed you?
Yes. That was like a huge highlight of my life. I'll never forget where I was answering those questions. I couldn't believe it was him.
That's great. He had the mic, or he was, hi, Pharrell. My question is,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it was over the phone. Yeah, we did a full-on interview, 2 pages. So crazy. I'm so proud of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I met him 2 other times. But my attempts of like writing for him all of the songs ended up on the first Justin album. Which is like 7, 8 songs.
And the song sounded like, when I heard the Justin tracks, it sounded like an off-the-wall inspired couple of tracks. And you would be, I know he responded later and said he loved the tracks you did for Justin. I just think it would make complete sense right now. Maybe I'm just excited for you and him to pair if that were ever a possibility. But or you and him to pair, he's of course passed, but the music is there. I'd love to see you get your hands on it. Put it like that. So we'll leave it at that. By the way, Michael Jackson threw cake in my face once. He caked me in the face, Pharrell.
Wow.
Neverland, cake in the face. That's my highlight of my life, just so you know.
Wow.
All right, Pharrell's hanging out. It's JoJo on the radio. Back in a sec, you guys. Don't move. That's a true story, by the way. It's JoJo on the radio in the studio with Pharrell. Pharrell, dude, this American Express on stage thing you have coming up.
Yes, sir.
Tell me exactly what this is. You and Spike on a stage just talking about music or just life or what?
Well, they have this program where they like have a director, I believe, like film a show. And then there's this additional, I'm referring to it as additional footage, but I'm sure this is not how they would see it. But there's like additional footage of like people on tour buses or like, a day and on a day off, just sort of recording things. And my team felt that it was a great opportunity for us to explore like other people's stories because they know how I am. I'm boring. So there's other things to talk about. And we have this song on this album called Know Who You Are featuring Alicia Keys. And it's kind of like me sort of like, singing a story about one of the slices of like the female's plight. And my team just saw it as a bigger opportunity with Amex on stage to sort of tell other people's stories. And while I personally wanted to keep it mostly about women because keep it all about women because that was my album, they wanted to have some male stories in there too, and it ended up being an even bigger, ended up feeling more like a bouquet situation. It was more of an assortment of like these good stories, people's stories of people like, enduring certain things and persevering through their issues. And it's a really heartfelt piece. I have not seen the edit yet, so I don't know where everything is, and we still have to shoot the show.
Right.
But it's a really, I think it's going to be compelling because at the end of the day, Spike Lee's the guy that did When the Levees Broke. I mean, and he knows how to pull heartstrings. And I really wanted to magnify these people's stories and sort of tell their stories to not only lift them, but for other people to find inspiration and be lifted too. So I really think it was a good idea on the part of my team to, you know, to take it somewhere else. I'm not sure that I'm probably sure I would have wanted to do something along the same lines too, because I hate talking about myself. So it was I love Amex because they were down with it. They were like, yeah, sure, these people are important and these stories should be heard. And that's what I loved about the partnership, because they got it instantly. And so much so that they, like I said, they wanted to put some male stories in there too, which, you know, I'm kind of like tunnel vision on certain things when I see things a certain way. But they ended up being right. You know, we should just, you know, it didn't have to be, gender specific. It should just be about humans and people's stories. And it ended up being a really cool thing.
Speed round of questions, Pharrell. Say pass if you don't want to answer. He's got that crazy look on his face like I'm about to ask him some craziness. Last big splurge. You work hard. You spent way too much on something. You probably regret it. We all do it from time to time. Do you have a last big splurge item?
I don't talk about those things.
Fair enough. One thing you do every day, no matter how big or small.
Thank God in the universe.
Have you ever been mistaken for the wrong celebrity?
Usher.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you take, like, I've had people tell me who was it?
No, I had somebody chase me down the airport. I know you are Usher. You are Usher. Usher. I knew you are Usher.
So did you take a picture as Usher?
He made me.
You got to. What can you do? Otherwise, they won't stop. Like,
but I was like, dude, I'm not Usher. No, Usher.
So in his photo album right now, there's you. It says Usher underneath. Usher.
Oosh.
You ever seen a ghost or a UFO? Believe in either.
Listen, actually, I'm staying in this hotel right now. And, you know, me and my wife, we jumped around a couple of times. But I think it's because the mirrors are in weird places. But we were jumping. It's a little, you know, yeah, dude.
God, that's what. So you don't know for sure.
I'm so kidding.
God,
listen,
freaking Pharrell. God,
no,
you had me die.
No, listen. Can I tell you something?
Yes, sir.
If you see ghosts, you're prone to see those kind of things wherever you go, because that means a part of your mind is open in places that most people aren't. And it means you know. It's one of two things. It's time to go sit down and talk to someone. Right?
Or put the bottle down.
Okay, 3 things. Number 2.
Right.
Put down the bottle. Okay? When you're seeing 2, that means you shouldn't drive. And number 3, you're kind of screwed. Because that means that, like, you know, wherever those kind of, you know, wherever spirits are, you're probably going to be the first one to see them. I'm so happy that part of my mind is closed.
I guess so.
Because I'm not ready for that.
If it ever happens, gotta come let me know.
I would jump out of my skin.
Final question, psycho fan encounter. Maybe the word psycho is not appropriate, but your fans are great. Okay. 99% of them. But there's always that one that's hiding in the closet when you open the hotel and just something crazy happens.
Yeah.
You having a good story you can tell me?
I get pulled on.
As in physically yanked, walking through?
Yeah, I've gotten pulled on, like, a lot of times. But I don't think they mean it, though.
They just want a piece of
I don't think
something.
they mean it in that way. And I had this girl, like, she had her arm around my neck. And I couldn't breathe.
Like a chokehold we're talking?
Yeah, she didn't want to let go.
What? How'd you get this crazy chick off?
Well, you know, security.
And they just, what was such an odd, because you want to give her love, knowing you, but she's at the same time choking you.
Not thinking in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She just probably wasn't thinking. But she had me in a sleeper, bud.
And so a few more minutes, security wasn't there.
Passed
Pharrell's out. All right.
Tapped out.
Pharrell, you're, once again, just a heck of a dude, man. Thank you for dropping by.
Thank you.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you.
Open invitation.
Thank you, bro.
All right, you guys.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. At Pharrell on Twitter and Instagram. Keep up with him. Everything's happening, man. See you later.